Welcome to Breakthrough Results by LeadingResponse. Each episode will feature a LeadingResponse host and their guest, discussing tips and tricks on how they achieve breakthrough results. This is a place to learn how to grow your business from people just like you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lisa Hlava, National Marketing Consultant at LeadingResponse. Today, I have with me Serena Burgyn with Pinnacle Financial Services. Serena, tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into the Medicare industry?
Sure. Hi, I'm Serena. So I started actually just in insurance, right out of college. It was sort of, I'm in Connecticut. We're known as the insurance capital. So it just sort of happened. I started in member services and provider services. And then from there, I sort of moved into different departments, not always on the Medicare side. I originally was on the group side, and then I handled, state employees with union insurance benefits. And then the opening opened up over on the Medicare division. And I knew some of the people in that department. I really liked them. I trusted them. So I figured, let's learn something new. So I transitioned over to Medicare as a broker manager for a carrier. And I did that for maybe 5 years or so before I moved over to the FMO side.
Great. Okay. That's a lot of background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because LeadingResponse specializes in seminar marketing in the Medicare industry, let's start there and then we can move into some of the other alternative marketing solutions towards the end of the discussion.
Okay.
Serena, I know that you travel all over the Northeast attending your agents' events and helping to support them. That gives you a unique insight that many people who aren't as hands-on as you are just don't have. You are absolutely dedicated to your agents and their success, which is why we wanted to chat with you today. At LeadingResponse, we train agents and advisors on our best practices in setting up their events, and you have an immense amount of experience with agents' best practices the day of the event. What would you say are some of the most important things that an agent needs to know the day of their seminar?
I think some of the most important things I always tell everybody is to print your RSVP list and have maybe a couple copies of that printed to bring with you to your event. When I sit at the table, I like to sit, where they're walking into the room. I tend to go and help my agents when I can. So whether it's me or whether it's your mom or your assistant, whoever's helping you that day, usually you have them sit there and they can check people in if they come in. It is nice to at least say, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I see you right here, and highlight the name or however you want to go about the check-in process. That's what I do. And then piggybacking on that, since I mentioned health, I think knowing who's coming, whether, you've aligned to have your assistant come, if it's a carrier rep you're close with, you want to know who's helping you that night. Unless you're going to have, 6 people, likely you're going to want another body there with you just to help when you're talking and make sure people have water and show someone to the bathroom or whatever it is. You do need an extra set of hands. So know who's going to help you. Have your RSVP list handy.
Perfect. Yeah, that's really great advice. How many support people do you think needs to be at the event? I know you mentioned 6 people, but there's a lot of times that people have rooms of 50 or 30. How do you feel that should play out when they're doing their seminars?
It depends. It's like the seminar I went to last week, we had probably close to 55 people there. And there was 1, 2, 3, there was 5 of us to help. And that was enough. That was okay. So, if we do the math, what is that, like 1 for every 10 or something in that ballpark? Just, most people are couples. So you kind of look at it like you're going to approach couples and they're going to sort of talk to you together. So you can sort of count them as one body. But the goal is you want to hit every single person before they leave. They all want to talk to you at the end. So you're going to have a big bottleneck of people waiting to talk to you, and you want to make sure that they all get the attention they deserve. So maybe 1 per every 10 might make sense.
That makes sense. That way that when they're leaving the room, you don't miss anybody walking out and miss that prospect. Great. What about the food? How should they handle the food being served? And what have you seen work and not work in terms of the meals?
Yep. So I think now with the food, this can be tricky, but what I found works the best is I like to have salad and rolls, whatever you're doing as an appetizer. If you're doing a Mexican place, maybe chips and salsa, have that sort of thing out so people can snack. Do your presentation, just that while you're presenting, right? And then when you're done presenting, your presentation shouldn't be longer than 20 minutes. If it's longer than 20 minutes, it's too long. Okay, no one's listening anymore. They're bored, or you're giving them way too much information. You're going way too much detail. So after your 20-minute slot of presenting, then have the meals come out. And I like that because then while they're eating, they're kind of, I don't want to say stuck there, but they're not leading. And that's when you can go table by table and really introduce yourself, talk, get a feel for what their needs are, build that rapport, and they're not just trying to run out the door. Have I seen people have the meals come out while they present? Yes. And if that works for you, that's fine. I just think, in my mind, the best practice is to do it the first way I mentioned.
Yeah, totally agree with that. That way they're busy with their meal, and then they can come out after and chit chat with them. It makes total sense to me.
And another little side thing I picked up on, something I started doing, if I have a really big group and I'm having trouble I know I'm not going to be able to talk to them all, I'll ask if they can come out with cookies or fuelies or whatever they can throw in for dessert, just so it's another thing that sort of keeps them there and they're not all trying to leave just yet. So,
Smart.
Just
Smart.
To keep in mind.
Yeah. Yep. Good tactic. What is the best way to go about getting permission to contact forms at the event?
Yep. So most people, I think it's nice to have place settings, like I sit down at where I'm supposed to sit to eat. I've got a notepad with paper. I've got your little handout, whatever you do in your business card. And I've got that permission to call card in there, but they're not going to really know what that is. They're probably going to just throw it in their purse and just think it's all the bunch of stuff you gave them. So I like to explain what it is in the beginning of the presentation. And then also, while they're eating or maybe when you're done presenting, however you want to figure that flow out with who's supporting you. When I help the brokers, I will go around table by table, holding up the form, showing them what it is, and explaining, if you fill this out, please fill this out. If you'd like to book a one-on-one appointment, I'll collect them now. If you don't really spell out what that form is and you just expect them to fill it out and leave it, they're just going to take it home and throw it in the file.
Yep, totally agree with that too. Yeah. In regards to what you've seen in the seminars themselves, what are some of the secrets that you've learned, or even multiple secrets that you feel that many agents just don't know that may make a difference to having a successful event?
Yep. So this one, I think it's definitely important to build rapport. I think the beginning of the seminar, a lot of people neglect. They kind of sit in the corner, they talk with their buddies, they take a carrier rep, and then they wait and they're going to talk to everybody after they're done presenting. I think that's a really good time to go around and start working the right now. Thank you for coming out. How was your drive? Whatever small talk you want to make. I think that's an underutilized, 15 to 20 minutes that you could be building rapport with people who got there early. The other thing I think is a good idea is we have to be careful. We can't set appointments on the spot anymore. We know that. But before the seminar, make sure if you have a website, maybe think about using Calendly or something similar. So that way, you can direct people to your website. If you want to book an appointment with me, go here, click that. That's another option for them to follow up with you.
Great. Okay. What about, are there any best practice appointment setting strategies that you can share from the events?
My mistake, didn't I? So have Calendly on your website. That's always. I would jump ahead, I guess. I think that's something I have set up in advance. A lot of people are tech savvy, even text on the link. I think Calendly has the ability where you can even text the link to people and they can use that to book an appointment. It's hard because now we can't officially book appointments on the spot. That rule changed. So gotta rely on permission to call. If you're doing a seminar and you're looking at your RSVP list, right? You're getting a feel for when these people are going to be turning 65, when you're doing your confirmation calls or whenever you're talking to them, maybe leave a few days open, knowing in 3 months from now, I'm going to have 10 couples that may want to book an appointment. That might not be a bad idea as well.
Okay, great. We have heard from other agents and agencies a lot of stories about where an agent handled adversity, such as their projector breaking down, or maybe even having a heckler in the room, that ended up working to their advantage and caused the audience to unify together and relate to the agent presenting. Have you ever seen something like that? And can you tell us any stories where what looked like a disaster ended up turning into a great event?
So luckily, I haven't had any disasters or hecklers yet, but it's bound to happen. But I think that out of hearing those types of stories, and the one thing I always tell everybody, I know everybody likes to project slides. It looks nice, but sometimes it makes sense to talk about handouts for that reason. You don't have to worry about something that's not working. So even if you're going to still project your slides, maybe printing that PowerPoint, and make sure you're printing it in handout mode, which is, at least 3 slides per page. Black and white is fine. I know it's expensive. So that way everybody has a copy of your presentation. So if worst came to worst and you can't project it, at least they can follow along and we can talk up the handout.
Sure. Yeah. And you never know, like with Wi-Fi, sometimes there's snowstorms or different things like that that could interrupt the main flow of things. So,
Yep.
yeah. Yep. I'm sure that you've also noticed a lot of things that agents shouldn't do. What are some of your big takeaways that you absolutely wouldn't recommend for an agent to do at their events?
They shouldn't do. I think having a venue that has some sort of privacy. So whether it's a cutout, now I know it's hard. We're working with places that are $15 dinners. It's not going to be always the best pick. As long as you're in a semi-private room, even if it's just through a doorway arch, I think doing the seminars in wide open spots of a restaurant, which we've done, and can sometimes be okay. But, last couple I went to, there's a baby crying. There's this going on. And then the agents are getting frustrated and sort of, talking to the guests in the restaurant, and you can't really do that either. They're in a public restaurant. So I think the shouldn't is, let's think about the venue we're using. Let's at least see that they have a private room-ish, even if there's not a full door. At least I'm in a private section, I guess, the word, right?
Sure.
I think that's important. So the shouldn't do would be wide open space.
Okay. Next question. What would you recommend to someone who is planning their very first event to help get them started?
Yep. So I always tell people, let's think about places you go to now, because you are going to be going to these dinner places asking for, $15 dinner. And you're asking for a bargain, right? So I think let's think about places you go to, maybe where you're regular, you're friendly with the manager. That's the places I've had a lot of luck with in terms of booking for my brokerage. I've actually, booked them while I was there for dinner on a Friday night. I'm like, hey, Jeremy, can we use this venue? That's a good place to start. First is finding our venue, thinking about who do we know? Maybe your friend owns a restaurant, whatever that case be, but working your network.
Okay, perfect. What about any sort of training that they should have for their first time going in?
Yep, training. So that's a hard one because some people are good at public speaking, some are not. I think that if you know that you're not the best public speaker, you get nervous. I think let's practice. So let's practice. And that's not even training in terms of, like, obviously you need to know Medicare. You're going up there doing a Medicare presentation. But I think public speaking and feeling comfortable and sounding confident is important.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I know that you also analyze the sales data from your FMO's vast amount of seminars that you do. What are some of the realistic conversion expectations from the agent seminar events that you see?
The one that popped out of my head, when I saw this question was, I have one of my brokers, we did 2 nights, right? So most people do it Tuesday, Thursday, or, sometimes Monday, Wednesdays, but Tuesday, Thursdays tend to be the most common. And one of the nights, we had 18 people attend. Of that, so far, he's sold 8. And those are all 8 new to Medicare. And that's so far, knowing some of these people are still turning 65 in the next few months. I talked to another agent today that's already sold 6 of his seminar that he did maybe 3 months ago. So many don't work that they're aging in. So what that is mathematically, I'd have to sit down and use a calculator, but that's a good turnout. It's 8 out of 18 so far, all new to Medicare. That gives you an idea anyway.
What sorts of marketing should agents be doing outside of their seminar events? Like, for instance, I know you mentioned something about leads, Facebook, websites. What other things, or is there anything else that you haven't already mentioned?
I think one thing we all forget about, or maybe not all of us, people don't give enough credit to, is grassroots marketing. You're getting involved in your local, whether it's, I know we all fight about the senior centers, so those might be sort of hard to get into at this point. But if you have a senior housing near you, another good thing you can do as an agent is build your relationships with your broker managers. A lot of times the carriers have opportunities. They need someone to staff a farmer's market. They need someone to help staff a health or whatever it is. That's a great way to get out there that doesn't cost you anything. Any type of grassroots marketing you can do, I think that is something you should always think about.
Serena, is there anything else that you would like to add that I forgot to ask or that we didn't cover today?
Not that I can think of. I think it's a great program. I've done a lot with the seminars in multiple states too, just to point that one out. So they work year round. That's the other thing. It's not an AEP thing. These people are new to Medicare. So you can do these during AEP if you want to. I know some of us might be overwhelmed and too busy with our AEP business, but you're just starting out and you're looking to build your book and you can accommodate a seminar, you can do them all year.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate meeting with you and tapping into your wealth of knowledge. I know that we've also covered a lot of ground here and hopefully gave the listening audience some useful information. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.